Hello and welcome. This is Strategic Integration of Loyalty and Online Ordering for Business Growth. Produced by Nation's Restaurant News, this program is being sponsored and presented by Paytronix. Paytronix is a digital customer engagement platform for restaurants, convenience stores, and retailers seeking to develop lasting relationships with their guests. For 20 plus years, Paytronix has worked to identify the multiple components of comprehensive digital customer engagement and incorporate them into a unified resource. I'm Alan Liddle, and on behalf of NRN, I'll be moderator for today's program with Hillary Hadley of Paytronix. Before hearing from Hillary, let's handle some housekeeping. So you know, this presentation is being recorded for on-demand viewing. You'll receive an email with a link when that replay is available. If at any time today you experience difficulties with the audio or the slides do not advance, press the F5 key on a Windows system to refresh your webinar console. Use Command and R keys on an Apple device. If that fails, look to the help widget at the bottom of your screen or type your technical question into the Q&A area. That Q&A area is also where you can enter questions you might have about our topic. Type yours in at any time and we'll get to as many as we can at the end of the session. Now, please let me share some information about today's presenter. Hillary Hadley is one of Paytronix's Senior Loyalty Strategists for the Strategy and Analytics team, a role in which she provides company clients with database guidance to maximize loyalty program results. Hillary has a PhD in developmental psychology with a concentration in statistics from the University of Massachusetts at Amherst. And with that upfront business completed, I can hand off to our main stage attraction. Hillary, please take over.
Thanks, Alan. Yep, so today I'll be talking about strategic benefits of integrating your online ordering platform with your loyalty program. So we're going to start really top line, give you some top line takeaways and some industry trends. And then we'll dive into the good stuff. We'll talk about how integrated platforms can increase key guest behaviors, how all of the data that you'll get can help you develop a more personalized marketing approach. We'll also talk about how integrated platforms can improve your loyalty program's effectiveness. Then we'll talk about a couple specific client success stories, so really showing the impact of integrated platforms. And then we'll wrap up by talking about what you can do, what you can start thinking about if you are considering integrating your online ordering and loyalty. So top 3 takeaways today as I'm going through, we'll talk about how integrating online ordering and loyalty can really help boost customer metrics such as retention and spend. So for example, we see that top performing QSRs can reach average guest retention rates of 62%. And we also see that loyalty members typically order more frequently, spend more, and really drive overall profitability. We'll spend a lot of time talking about all of the great data that you can get from an integrated platform and how this can really enhance your marketing strategies. And then, like I said, we'll go through a couple case studies that really highlight the impact of integrating these systems. So we'll talk about Lion's Choice and National Coney Island. So I also just want to start very top line and say, you know, since post 2020, we've seen consumer behavior trends really shift towards favoring these integrated systems. And some of the key trends that we've seen are integrated systems having increased loyalty transaction share. So for brands that have integrated systems can achieve up to 60% of their online orders and 37% of all transactions coming from their loyalty members. We also see higher retention rates. So FSRs and QSRs can see monthly retention rates of around 60%, really again showing preference for those loyalty programs and those loyal members. We also see overall growth in online orders. So what we'll see in one of our client success stories today, for example, Lion's Choice saw a really huge increase in their overall online orders once they launched their integrated platform. And then finally, we've seen a trend that overall loyalty program members tend to order more. They order more frequently, they buy more items per order, and overall they respond better to promotions. So let's start by diving into how an integrated platform can really help improve some key guest behaviors. And we'll start with customer retention because that's a big one. So integrating online ordering and loyalty actually works double time in improving guest retention. So from both sides of it, From an online ordering perspective, we see that monthly retention rates are 2 times higher for loyalty members compared to other online ordering users. And from a loyalty perspective, we've seen that within loyalty programs, monthly retention rates can be anywhere from 22 to 32% higher among multi-channel versus single-channel guests. So for those loyalty members who are placing orders both online and in-store. So overall, from both perspectives, what we see is that integrating loyalty with online ordering is really helping to grow those return visits over time. And we also see a really great impact of integrated systems on overall customer lifetime value. Top line, this is because by combining these platforms, we're really helping to streamline operations, streamline the guest experience, and overall, that's going to help boost things like retention and frequency, which will lead to higher customer lifetime value and overall sales. So again, from these loyalty members who are multi-channel users who are placing orders both online and in store, we're seeing that not only is their month-to-month retention higher, but they are also visiting more frequently in general. So these two things combined are really helping boost their lifetime value compared to single channel customers by up to about 35%. And so ultimately, this is really being driven by all the data that you're getting, which we'll talk about in the next section more in depth, but all of that customer provided and first party data from integrated systems can help personalize the audience's buying opportunities and drive that retention, frequency, and overall value. So a few specific tips or ways that you could work to increase customer lifetime value by integrating online ordering and loyalty. The first is working to boost retention. So this could be done in a couple ways. First, you could offer loyalty members unique incentives to place online orders again and again. So for example, brands like Starbucks and Caribou Coffee offer extra loyalty points per dollar spent when you place orders online or through the app. So they're directly incentivizing their loyalty members to use their integrated channel. You can also do things like use your data to identify which members might really need a discount to ensure that return visit versus those customers who are going to come back and order again and be retained regardless. You can also try and boost frequency, and this is really going to come down to sending targeted, personalized communications and offers to increase order frequency of specific customer groups. So more on this in the next section. This is really going to be where you can lean in and leverage all of the data that you're getting. And finally, you can work to boost AOV. This is going to have a couple different flavors as well. First, there's the opportunity to incentivize upsells. And with integrated platforms, you can actually do this in a more personalized way. So you can use data on loyalty members to target upsells based on their usual average order size, so you know where to push. In addition, with integrated platforms, you can use loyalty rewards to remove that upfront discount, preserve the initial check size, and then reward guests with a reward that they can use later on. All right, so now we're going to jump into talking a little bit about all of the data that you can get through integrated systems and how this can be used for enhancing marketing and personalization. So broadly speaking, we get a lot of customer data. I'm sure everyone knows that, from customer provided data to online ordering data to loyalty-based data on customer behavior over time. So then the question becomes, how do we make the most of this data? I'm curious if it's surprising to anyone. In a survey last year, Nation's Restaurant News reported that 7 out of 10 operators weren't sure if they're optimizing their guest data as best that they can. And similarly, Nation's Restaurant News recently reported that only about 20% of organizations would say that they definitely optimize customer data. So again, a lot of brands out there aren't quite sure how to make the most of all the data they're getting. So take a minute, think about where your organization might fall on this chart, particularly when it comes to online ordering data and loyalty data. And then hopefully in this section, you can gain some new insights or perspectives on how integrating online ordering and loyalty can really help maximize all that data you're getting. So again, ultimately, integrated systems means access to a wealth of knowledge about all of your customers, including what they buy, how often they visit, and potentially even more complex things like whether they're in danger of lapsing away from the brand. So leveraging this guest data is really going to allow you to optimize details of messaging and offer a personalized experience. And there are three buckets that I want to talk about today in terms of how we can really lean into this data in an integrated system. So first is going to be those personalized offers, which can really work to enrich the customer experience and overall increase spend and sales and growth over time. We can also expand this out a little bit and think about the benefit of doing targeted discounting. So this is really about ensuring that you're maximizing discounts to drive the most impact by saving discounts for customers who really need it. And finally, a little bit of a different vein, there's a lot of benefit around being able to respond to guest feedback in a personalized manner. This can not only make sure that your most loyal customers feel heard, but ultimately can help increase the chance of return visits after a bad experience. So starting with personalized offers, again, with loyalty data, you're able to track individual customer behavior over time and ultimately create guest profiles or guest personas. And then you can turn around and use this data to personalize online ordering, communications, and offers to these members. And what we've seen is that companies that really lean into those personalization efforts can generate up to 40% more revenue than brands who aren't leaning into the personalization. So this is one of the most valuable tools and valuable ways to use the data that you'll have. And we have a great client success story from Smashburger. So Smashburger really leaned into this idea of personalized, targeted marketing campaigns to help meet same-store sales growth goals. And ultimately, they did a combination of things, but they were doing personalized things like offering a veggie burger offer for guests who don't eat beef, as well as free fries for trying a new menu item that someone hadn't tried before, and then triple points for online ordering. And through these efforts, they saw really great results, including 20% spend lift, 16% visit lift, and just really incredible out of this world return on their investment. So they were really able to lean into personalized efforts and see that return. And when it comes to discounting, best practice typically is that discounts, for the most part, should be reserved for customers who aren't likely to engage or do whatever action you want them to do without the discount. There are exceptions, of course, especially with loyalty, when maybe you want to show appreciation to your most loyal guests. But in thinking about how we can leverage integrated systems to really drive business growth, this is where we can make sure that we're using the data we have to save those discounts. And so we're able to use, again, that loyalty data to determine which customers actually need to be incentivized to order. Those are the customers that you'll want to give a coupon or reward to, and not the customers who are already going to be ordering. Maybe it's their usual habit. They don't need that extra nudge. And so ultimately, the idea is that targeted discounting based on the data you have on customers can increase your overall revenue and reduce your discount rate. We have a couple great success stories here too. Most frequently, we've seen clients work to drive online ordering traffic among loyalty members who have never placed an online order before. So they're looking at their most loyal guests, figuring out who hasn't made use of this additional channel and incentivizing them to try it. So guests were offered a loyalty incentive to place their first online order. And we saw some really great results, including that these guests who were incentivized were 8.5 times more likely to place their first online order than loyalty members who were not offered this incentive. And for those members who did place their first order, who responded to the offer, we saw that 13% went on to make additional online orders. So this is really, again, using the targeted discounting to ladder up and get new guest retention over time. So now you've got your most loyal members, they're trying this new channel and they're continuing to use it over time. And finally, again, slightly different vein, is about guest feedback. So what we've seen here is that real-time post-order surveys and comps for dissatisfied customers can really help retention. So sending a response and a reward after bad survey feedback can result in a return visit 1/3 of the time. So really, it's going to give you that ability to recoup guests who may otherwise choose not to come back. In addition, when we're thinking about an integrated system where you're also talking to and getting orders from your loyalty members, it's a really key way to make sure that your most valuable loyal customers feel heard. And receiving feedback can also be really beneficial for your business and your online ordering platform as well. So it can give you insights into what parts of the order process may need improvements. So for example, if you're receiving feedback from your loyalty members that food isn't ready or the food is cold, that can help you hone on what part of the operations and the broad online ordering process needs improvements. And then ultimately can help optimize that ordering channel and that guest experience for not only your most loyal customers, but all customers who are coming to you through online ordering. And this is actually a really great space to lean into AI, which is becoming ever more popular. So we've seen that this is a great way to use AI to send personalized, relevant feedback to guests after a bad experience or a bad review. All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit more about how an integrated platform can actually help your loyalty program as well. So there are three big buckets of benefits I'm going to talk about that are benefits to the loyalty program. The first is that an integrated platform can help increase program enrollments. So online ordering is essentially adding an additional enrollment channel or two, including through your first-party order flow and potentially even through third-party order conversion. So for example, if you're putting a QR code or information on how to sign up for the program on takeout or delivery materials. An integrated platform can also help boost overall loyalty orders and sales. So the idea being you have that extra channel that loyalty members can order through. So more overall orders and sales are going to be connected with loyalty. And this can be really beneficial if you have business goals around growing your loyalty program and loyalty sales. And then finally, this is a really great way to create a seamless brand experience for your most loyal customers. So loyalty customers should be able to earn points and use their rewards on both in-restaurant and digital orders in order to create a really strong relationship with the brand. And that's really what keeps these customers coming back to you time and time again. So a few tips on how to really lean into this and make the most of an integrated platform. So first is really thinking about loyalty enrollments. Obviously, you want to make sure that it's really simple and easy for new customers to sign up for the loyalty program. So for example, in an online ordering flow, making sure there's one, if not more than one place for people to sign up for the program and do so in a seamless way that then they can just continue their order. It's also important to incentivize signups, and a lot of programs do this anyway, so it may be more about communicating the benefits here, right? So making sure that if a guest is placing an online order and they're not a member of the program, they really see the value proposition and they understand immediately, here's why you should create an account and sign up and use it on your order today. And then again, it's important to really think about how you can best create that seamless brand experience. So here are a couple examples. First, again, you want to make sure that there's a clear way to allow people to sign into their loyalty accounts during the order flow. Again, maybe this is one place at the beginning of the order, maybe it's multiple options, but making it really easy and seamless. And then also making sure that there's a clear way for guests to apply relevant loyalty rewards at checkout, so that they can reap the benefits of being a loyalty member through your online ordering flow. All right, so now we're going to talk about those 2 client success stories and really look at a wrapped up version of the impact of these integrated platforms. So first is Lion's Choice. Lion's Choice launched an integrated app in 2020. And since then, they've seen really great results. So like I mentioned at the beginning, they've seen a 110% increase in online orders since they launched this integrated solution. So overall, this has just given them amazing growth in this channel. They've also really leaned into all of the data that they get. They've worked to create personalized campaigns, and ultimately this has given them sustained lift in customer engagement over time. And then they also worked really hard to take this as a fresh new start to win back lapsing guests, again, giving them that new channel to order through, giving them new ways to order and get incentivized. And from that, they've successfully won back over 50% of their lapsing guests. So again, they've really created this really nice cycle of winning back lapsing guests, sustained customer engagement, and all of this is laddering up to that top line growth. And then we've got National Coney Island. So in 2021, National Coney Island was really looking for a tech-first solution. They had a lot of stores who were low on staff, so they were really trying to find ways to increase online orders and get people in that digital channel. So they created this integrated app so that loyalty members could benefit from online ordering. They also, again, leaned into the data and personalization. So they did a couple really cool things. First, they used menu optimization tests to highlight the most ordered menu items and figure out, what is the most successful way to present our menu to guests. And then they also incentivized online orders to get people excited and motivated to use this new order channel. And overall, they saw really great results, including almost a 20% lift in their online orders and a 14% lift in their overall spend. So wrapping up, take a minute to summarize, again, the value that we've talked about of integrating online ordering and loyalty. So overall, this is going to create an enhanced customer experience. It's going to create that seamless brand experience that's so important for customers to get that brand loyalty and continue returning to your brand over time. Integrated systems also boost omni-channel value. So those guests who are ordering both in-store and online have the highest orders frequency, the best retention, and a 35% higher lifetime value. Integrated systems and the data it gives you is going to really open the door to maximizing your ability to send personalized, relevant communications and offers. So all of that loyalty data will let you personalize the online ordering process for your guests which can lead to as high as 40% more revenue. And finally, there are some benefits to help growing your loyalty program. So online ordering can provide an additional enrollment channel and really boost your loyalty program growth. And so if you're at the point that you're thinking about your own solutions, thinking about integrating online ordering and loyalty, these are a few sort of top line things to keep in mind, to think about. So first, you want to just take a look at your current solution, figure out where you are, what you need, and where those gaps are. This is a really good place to take insight and inspiration from industry leaders. So look at examples of success, for example, like we talked about National Coney Island and Lion's Choice, and figure out, what did they do well? What worked for them? What could work for us? Definitely consider first-party online ordering solutions. This is going to give you the richest, most detailed data about your customers, and that's really going to take you so much farther. This one is a little more on the tech and operations side, but we do also recognize that if you're able to streamline with a single vendor, that can go a long way in just simplifying not only your operations, but making managing the guest engagement strategies easier overall. And then finally, as you're thinking about integrating, make sure that you're able to support as many enrollment methods into your loyalty program as possible. So make sure, as you're thinking about all the different ways that guests could connect with your online ordering, how can they seamlessly join the loyalty program if they choose to? And that is all the content I've got for today.
Hey, thanks, Hillary, for those insights and those tips. We do have some audience questions, and I'm going to look down there and pick the first one I can see and tell you that our first question reads, I clicked something wrong there. Here we go. How can businesses effectively measure and interpret these data to refine their marketing strategies and customer engagement tactics?
Yeah, so I think the most important part when you're thinking about, how do I measure how I'm doing with these strategies is accessibility of data. So the more data that you have available and easily accessible, for example, I mentioned, the benefits of first-party online ordering, the better spot you'll be in. Once you've got your data, I think it's really important to identify the key metrics that you're hoping to influence with your strategies. So, for example, we talked about today, you could focus on how well you're doing driving retention, AOV, frequency, whatever it is, make sure you find the most complementary metric. And then I'm always a proponent of control groups, which is an easy thing to do if you've got an integrated loyalty program, right, where you can see individual members. By holding out a group of members, you're able to compare behavior. That's going to give you the best sense of how effective certain strategies are. But you can certainly also do things like compare metrics over time, to understand if you're improving your monthly retention rate or improving guest frequency.
Okay, good to know. Thanks. Here's a question that asks, what are some successful strategies for restaurants to increase customer retention and order frequency through integrated loyalty and online ordering systems? Kind of goes to the heart of what we're talking about today.
Yeah. So, that's definitely going to be about leaning into the data you get, doing targeted marketing, really figuring out what guest segments make sense to go after. So, for example, with guest retention, you may do something like identify members who haven't visited in a while or who aren't likely to visit or place an order in the near future, and incentivize them to do so. So sort of get them back on track. For frequency, you could do something like find guests who are usually lower frequency. Maybe they come like once a month or something, and offer them an incentive to kick it up a notch. Maybe it's like double points every week this month.
Well, that would be attractive. I'm looking for that one. Thanks. Here's a question that asks, what are the key benefits of integrating loyalty programs with online ordering for improving the average order value for restaurants?
Yeah. Again, I think I think it all comes back to the data once again, and being able to really parse out different guest segments. Because I think the key benefit is being able to look at different groups of customers based on their usual average order value. And then you can make sure you're giving the right incentives, the right discounts to the right groups. So for example, this would help you make sure that you're not giving a 5 off 25 coupon to someone who usually spends $30, but you're giving that coupon to someone who usually spends $15 to $20.
Okay. Question here, another question here says, is menu optimization a feature?
Is that a Paytronix specific question or just a general feature
That's
question?
That's all the question says. So start with Paytronix and go broad.
So within Paytronix solutions, yes, we do have a feature around being able to test and play with menu optimization. Can't speak for other solutions, but I think that's a great thing to be able to have flexibility over, is how you present your menu. So whatever solution you're using, being able to test how the menu comes up is a really great way to understand what's going to get you the most impact.
Okay, thanks for that. We have a question here that says, and this is another pretty narrow question, how do you calculate ROI?
That's a great question. Maybe depends on who you ask. My preferred calculation would be to look at the incremental sales that you generate through a campaign, and put that against how much you gave out in discounts. So I say incremental sales because typically, if you're holding out a control group, you can figure out how many sales did you get incrementally when you did something compared to if you hadn't done something. That's going to be, I think, one of the better ways than looking at raw sales against discounts, but you could do that as well.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, we have a question here that asks, what a good rate of frequency for your loyal customers? What is a good rate of frequency of your loyal customers, weekly, bi-weekly?
Okay, yeah, that'll depend on the concept. And again, I think the nice thing about an integrated solution is you have visibility into different guest segments. So for example, maybe you would see that your top customers are going to be weekly visitors or be placing those orders weekly, whereas your larger casual base is maybe like once a month or every other month.
Okay. Question here asks, what integrations do you work with? Are you the actual online ordering platform or only a plugin in the restaurant's existing online ordering platform?
I'm going to defer that one and say, please reach out to Paytronix in general and someone can give you that information. I'm not the tech specialist, unfortunately.
Good to know. All right, there you go. It's as straightforward as you can get. Yeah. There is a question here that asks, here we go. The ROI question was specifically about the 61 time that was presented on the slide. Who is that? How is that calculated? 61 time ROI.
Oh, sure. For
example.
I would say, I don't know specifically offhand. My guess is it would be along the lines of I said, is comparing sort of the incremental spend that they got, so that like 20% spend lift, against however much they ended out giving out in discounts, like the dollar amount of whatever they gave out. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Here's a question that asks, do you find offering percentage discounts is more or less effective than offering a free item, i.e. a BOGO?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say test it. You may find different results for different groups of members. Anecdotally, I would say free items and dollars off, I think maybe psychologically feel a little more appealing, unless you're hitting a really big number, like 50% off, 75% off. Less than that, I think, maybe sometimes people don't do the math as much and it doesn't feel as appealing.
I was going to say some people don't do math well, and they
We
don't
can
even
poll people on that, yeah.
Yeah,
But
right.
my advice is always to test these things, right? That's a great question, and it's a great thing to be able to test and understand what performs better.
Gotcha. Okay. So there's another question that asks, what strategies would you recommend engaging with those loyalty members that don't interact with your email offers? Interesting.
Yeah. So if I'm thinking about the question correctly, if people aren't engaging with email offers, I guess one thing you could try is a different communication channel. Sometimes we see that certain groups of members may respond better to push messages or SMS text messages. So it could be finding the right communication channel for a given audience.
Okay. Yeah, I know that text can be very effective at times with me as a consumer, as long as they don't overdo it and I'm not hearing
Yes.
about every single thing, especially about things I have never ordered, will want to order, or never done before.
Yes.
So, okay, so folks, you can add some more questions. We do have some time, but I also see a question here that asks, it says, Hillary mentioned a conversion to 13% of loyal guests to online. Does she see overall online ordering increase as a percentage of sales?
I'm not, I guess I would say I'm not sure for that specific client success story. If we saw the direct correlation between like moving the overall online ordering sales needle with that 13%, I would say if you had a strategy like that to try and get net new members to participate in your online ordering channel, and you continued that type of incentive and method over time, you should see growth in the channel overall because you're getting more and more members in.
Gotcha. Okay. Here is another question that asks, Hillary, oh no, that's what I just asked. Sorry.
See if I answer the same way.
Yeah. Well, that's what I get for not hitting the little check mark there and sending it off. I am looking for questions here, and I don't know if my screen is frozen or what's going on. Let's see here. Well, you know what? There is a question down here. Can you provide examples of how personalized marketing strategies have directly increased sales for a restaurant using these integrated systems?
Yeah, I think, the two that I talked about today that would be the most relevant for overall sales would be Smashburger with their 20% spend lift, and National Coney Island. So they saw an overall sales lift, and I think they were even able to take it to the store level and say they got $300 additional per store per month for their personalized efforts.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Question here asks, how would you recommend we get ahead of the curve on loyalty programs? Well, there's a nice big broad one to swing at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about ahead of the curve. I think, the thing that I said a couple times today that maybe resonates is really thinking about creating a guest experience for your loyalty members that is seamless across all of your channels and that is personalized and relevant. I think that, that study or survey that found, brands that lean into personalization see, 40% more revenue than brands that don't, speaks volumes. I know everyone is leaning into personalization these days, but I mean, I think the more you do it, the better.
I know I probably sound like a broken record about this, but I know that it's just such a turnoff when you keep getting offers and notes from loyalty programs that have no relation to how you use that business. It just sort of tells you that they're really not paying attention and they're not tracking your loyalty very well. So
yes,
kind of
and I think that that's another benefit to an integrated system too, right? So when you're talking about online ordering offers or new deals, making sure that you're talking about the right deals or the right new items to the right audience to make sure that the online ordering experience feels personalized too.
Yeah, or don't claim too much about personalization, because some of it is just basic stuff like I've never ordered one of these products yet. You keep pitching them at me. I know there's probably a strategy that says, well, maybe we can get them to try it, but if I haven't bid on the 13th one, I don't know. You're not sending a good message at that point. Let's see here. Let's see. Question asks, marketing manager for Seattle-based restaurant group here. We launched our first prior party loyalty and online ordering platform back in April. With a high cost of third-party delivery in Western Washington, we are struggling to convert third-party orders to first-party orders, despite only charging a flat rate fee and no extra markups. Do you have any suggestions on how to convert these customers to first-party delivery?
Yeah.
Well, there's a universally popular question right now.
That's a tough one. I know. I wish I had a magical fix answer. I think, it sounds like if you are able to, to provide like lower fees or no fees, so basically like people don't have to spend as much money if they order first party, making that message and incentive as clear as possible everywhere you can be really helpful. So on your website, on any takeout or delivery materials, I think that, that'll probably have the biggest impact. And then, of course, if you're able to get people to sign up for your loyalty program, you can make sure to message your loyalty members that you can communicate with and tell them specifically, one, hey, save money, order direct. And you can also incentivize it, right? So you can offer them, extra loyalty points, triple points if you place your order directly through our site.
And maybe even just a one-time better rate on the in-house delivery, so that people can see the benefits of that and also score those points, see how they score points on loyalty and everything else for that. That's a good idea. Okay, I'm looking for questions here. Scrolling through. I have a question here that asks, how do integrated systems specifically improve customer retention rates?
Yeah, I think that, that really comes into, let's see, having a seamless brand experience, giving your most loyal members, so the ones who are likely to visit more over time anyway, an additional channel to visit through. So that will help boost retention. And then having that ability to provide personalized feedback to, to guest surveys, guest feedback. So again, increasing the possibility of winning someone back after they've had a bad experience by sending them, personalized, relevant response.
Yeah. For a while, there was some talk about folks having special experience, not discounts, not BOGOs, but sort of offering exclusive experiences, like for your really high loyalty members. You get a chance to visit the headquarters or back of the house, or a special party or dinner like that. Is there still some thinking along those lines, or is that sort of just a little too hard to manage? Sort of experiences.
Yeah, I think it's a great call out. That's really ultimately going to be up to what the brand team can manage, since that's going to be something that's not like, part of an integration. But we definitely see guests, responding well to that type of experiential benefit. So the idea that you could create, the next burrito combo, or get a personal session on, how to make a good cup of coffee. Those things definitely resonate with guests if you can support them.
Okay. Check our question queue here. I am thinking, that usually gets me in trouble when I'm thinking there. I am thinking that we're through with our exchange for today, and we thank you for joining us for this talk about strategic integration of loyalty and online ordering for business growth. Before we sign off, though, I would like to offer a hearty thank you to Subject Authority Hillary Hadley, and also to Paytronix, without whose sponsorship this program would not have been possible. If for some reason we didn't get to a question, someone will be back to you offline. And please do keep an eye out for the email with session replay information for your use. and to share with colleagues. And some people have been known to go back and take detailed notes off those replays. So anyway, please do join us for future NRN webinars. But for now, know that all of us here wish you goodbye and good day.